I'm TheCommissar. We're watching Forged Alliance Forever, and you're going to be over the moon about this one, because here we are, looking down on this patch of moon rock, where 6 players are about to fight it out. By the looks of things, we're back on the moon, and thanks to the choices of team colours, cause this is a custom game, not a ladder, we have a light side and a dark side. Let's meet the light side team first. Here in the left flank position we have Morax, 1700 rated and Eon, he's in orange. To his north we have Rhaelya, 2200 rated and also Eon, in red. And in this crater position we have GingerbreadMan, who's 1900 rated and Seraphim in burgundy, and as he just mentioned in the chat there, it's all floaty races with Aurora and Zoe on a map with no water, so make of that what you will. Now, where's the other team? Down here, concealed against the dark terrain of the moon, we have SealForce, who is 1600 rated and Cybran. He's in dark green. Moving up to the mid position here we have MimiKz, 2200 rated and Eon, he's in purple. And last but not least, in the crater we have Rhaelya, who is 1900 rated and Cybran, in mauve. Now, a few things to note about the map. These yellow craters are actually not accessible except by air. There is a decent smattering of mass around the map, with a particular concentration in this crater here. You can see a nice load of wrecks there, and there's also these little Eon flavour or Seraphim flavour cities scattered around. But yes, you can't edge build out of these craters either, because I don't think you can get far enough up the edge to be able to get an edge build. You might be able to with your comm, but it's going to be difficult. So these guys are definitely going to want to go air and drop out into the wider world. Now, quick note about the rules of this game. This game is partial share. We don't often see that. I personally don't like playing it. I think it's a mistake, because if you go partial share, when you die, all your combat units die, but your eco stays alive, and therefore there's an extent to which it encourages turtling. But we'll see if that actually proves to be the case. Now, we have both crater players transporting out to these, which are their natural expansions. We can see that Raider has planned to pick up both of those, but at the moment Gingerbread is just going for this one. We also have a cheeky little bomber heading out from Morax, which is on its way across to have some fun with Raider by the looks of things. If it can kill some of his early NGs, that would be nice. If it could kill these, that would be amazing, but he hasn't. Oh, he has. He's got a scout following it. So please, I would love to see him see these NGs, bomb them, and force Raider to redrop. However, he's been locked onto by this Inti from MimiKz, so he only gets one bomb off. Takes out an NG, but it gets shut down. Could have been more productive, but at least it did something. And here's Raider's first drop, being greedier. He's expanding here and putting up land factories to contest this area, as well as back here. Whereas Gingerbread has only gone for this position as yet. I'm hearing a little bit of a scuffle somewhere. Where is it? Well, here is one place. We have some tanks from Morax fighting Mantis from Seal. And Seal is coming forward quite quickly. That's quite aggressive for a naked comm. Nobody's had any sort of time to really get into upgrades yet. And this is quite a big map, 20k. And it is a full 20k map. You see there's no space around the edges. So Seal's got a long way to walk before he gets in here, by which time Morax is likely to have built up some defense. So that's something of which Seal is going to have to be aware. he's got an Inti around here for defense against the air, but how much has he scouted? How much does he know what's coming? Well, he knows basically nothing, and that feels like a mistake to me, coming this far forward without any radar support. He's got one scout creeping up, but this force over here is also unsupported by scouts. Over on this side, we've got Rhaelya coming forward, trying to deny this forward expansion from Raider. However, Raider has already got a factory up, he's going to get tanks out, and this little trickle from Rhaelya isn't going to make the difference. I don't think it's going to kill the NG and even delay this factory. So, not much of a problem there for Raider. But Rhaelya is also putting pressure on MimiK's front line, and if he just goes forward a little bit with his long-range Aurora tanks, he will be able to pick off this engineer and deny the factory for MimiKz, but he hasn't noticed that yet, though he must have radar coverage covering it. And the factory goes up. These tanks might be in time to save it, I'm not at all sure, but I think they will be. Good work from Rhaelya dropping NGs all across these middle craters. There's reclaiming them as we noted, and there are MimiKzes and they'll be good for radar. Seal has engaged Morax, but felt he's not a match for it, and he's fallen back a bit. Meanwhile, Rhaelya continues his pressure on MimiKz, taking out this factory, but MimiKz has got blazes out, and those T2 assault tanks are an amazing counter for T1. So around they go, and Rhaelya's T1 dies. MimiKz will hold, but he has lost his NG here, and his factory, and his MimiKzes. He is going to have to rebuild. Morax moving forward, getting into a good position relative to Seal. Meanwhile, Raid has brought a decent amount here, and he's going to push back Gingerbread a little bit. I think he might be able to dislodge Gingerbread from this position, and that will be great for him, because he'll then have control over all this area. In this top mini crater, enclave, whatever, Gingerbread has more of the terrain though, so maybe that will even out. However, this is a good charge from Raider. And it's getting work done. This is going to be 3 MimiKzes and probably 2 factories down. Come on, focus the factory. Don't let him get something else out. He's focusing the wrong factory. Focus this. Focus this. He's got the MimiKzes down. But Gingerbread is now bringing in quite a significant force. He's also getting stuff out of this factory. Down it goes. And I think we're going to get a little retreat there. There's such a bomber there from MimiKz. And we have a cheeky little single blaze drop into this crater, which takes out the NG, and now it can clear up this crater at will. I love that. That's great play from MimiKz. And Gingerbread has now driven Raider back, but he's been denied this income for some time now, and his nearest NG is here, which is going to have to come out and rebuild again. So that's a bit of a delay for Gingerbread. Meanwhile, Morax has come very far forward, and just like Seal was earlier, Morax is also naked. However, Seal hasn't quite got the forces to push him back. Morax has a little bit of T2 in there, and he's brought Obsidians. They're not as good at countering T1. There is a little bit of T2 in there for Seal, because they have such a slow rate of fire, but they're very good at helping out if there's a comm in the battle, which there absolutely soon will be. And I think these are our first comm upgrades going down. Gun upgrade for Seal and the speed upgrade for Rhaelya, who already has the first range upgrade. So we've got 2 combat comms coming out. I'm not seeing any other comm upgrades just as yet. Quite late for comm upgrades to begin at the 9-minute mark, but so it is. A little bit of skirmishing in the north around here and around here. It feels like Gingerbread has massed a slightly larger force at this stage. But this however is quite bad positioning, and Rhaelya can just sweep up from the side, including his rhinos, and there's no T2 in here yet. Do we have actual T2 ability from... We've got T2 air, but I'm not seeing T2 land from Gingerbread yet. So he doesn't have an immediate answer to these rhinos. However, he's got the numbers here, made mainly of Zui Artie, to come and take this position out, although this is a mistake, moving into the point defense. If the Artie get it... Well, not if it doesn't last. Anyway, on we go. And we have to look down here where Seal is moving in on Morax. Morax is trying to get the sensors, which is nice. It will give him the ability to see what's coming. But when he finishes it, he knows that there's something here, but he doesn't know much about it. He might get a nasty surprise. And in comes Seal. And Seal has about as much T2 as Morax, and he's got a gun comm as well, which would definitely make Morax think twice. The Obsidians are really good at tanking that damage with their shield generators, but Morax feels he has to fall back, and he's going for the range upgrade on his comm. He can't get the speed upgrade because without overwriting his sensors. The rhinos are focusing him. However, Morax cancels the upgrade. He brings in the Obsidians. He moves in. While that is going on, though, Rhaelya has pushed in on MimiKz. Both sides have Eon double gun, but Rhaelya looks a bit alone, and MimiKz has these blazes in the area. Oh, this looks bad for Seal, though. Check this out. Seal has been surrounded by the Obsidians from Morax, who is keeping back, not having a gun comm to support. And Seal might actually be in trouble, as he's bringing in these rhinos in support, but he's got a lot of Obsidians to work through, and he's down into the red. Meanwhile, Rhaelya has backed away himself, but has brought in blazes. Seal still in the red, only 1,000 hit points remaining. But a nice overcharge, and down goes the Obsidian, and Seal, I think, is going to survive. Meanwhile, Rhaelya is still poking around here, but I'm not sure he's really going to engage with Morax yet. Meanwhile, Raider has made gains again and driven Gingerbread off this position, but Gingerbread has got the gun and dropped his comm out of the crater, which will be more than a match for a few T2 tanks, especially when he's got that comm backed up with Ilshavos. So here he comes forward, and he is going to be able to retake this position once again, but while he does that, Raider is sending a cheeky little, raid up here behind the comm, where he might get some damage done. But what have we got in the middle? MimiKz and Rhaelya are still fighting. Quite a lot of T2 on the field for them now. And a quick look at the eco. Slight lead for Team Light Side of the Moon, but not that great. And if they keep losing territory like up here, it's not going to last, because how much of it is coming from this area? We've got gun upgrades going down on Seal and Morax. Sorry, gun upgrades on Morax and Nano on Seal. So Seal is now quite a hefty comm, but immediately Morax starts on shield. MimiKz pushing in, keeping Rhaelya back with his comm and with this T2 army. Rhaelya might even have to worry, fall back a bit there. And so he does, but looks like MimiKz isn't pushing at this stage. Despite Raider's strong presence at the top, he's not getting a great deal done. Oh, but he is getting stuff done here. A moment ago we saw that Gingerbread had pretty much all this little crater at the top locked down, but that is definitely changing as these T2 forces from Raider come in, and he's bringing NGs to recolonize it. What else have we got? Oh, MimiKz. MimiKz is charging Rhaelya, and Rhaelya is into the yellow. This is quite a large army. If MimiKz can knock out the other team's highest rated player, that could be a huge pickup. However, Rhaelya has this little fortification, and MimiKz is going to have to fight his way past that. He can do it safely with his gun range, but every second he spends here, Rhaelya could just run away, and run away indeed he does. This, however, could be trouble for Morax. That's quite a lot of T2, and he hasn't finished the shield upgrade. Seal's coming in around here with his cob and here with his tanks. Will he be able to force a cancer? I don't think he will. I think Morax will be able to finish that. He's got enough tanks to see off this force and to then protect himself as Seal comes up the bottom here. And he finishes his shield. He'll engage the comm, shield and range gun with sensors versus gun and nano. He does have the advanced range, but this could make a difference. We have a gunship raid coming in from Raider, well supported by inties, and Seal has his own inties backing it up. And they're just going straight for the snipe. There isn't any anti-air in here, and there isn't an air presence that can respond. It might take a while for them to work through, but I'm pretty sure they're going to. While that happens, though, we're going to check up here, where Rhaelya is also getting shield, and he finishes shield on his comm. MimiKz is pushing. He's got a decent T2 army, but in combination with Rhaelya's shield, I don't think that's going to be enough. How are we looking on Morax? Well, he is absolutely going to die. There is no way out of this for him, I'm sure of it. That's an immense horde of T2 gunships, the Cyber Renegades. And he's just going down. Boom! Down he goes. Our first ejection at just short of 16 minutes into the game. Now, you remember that this is partial share, so this will mainly transfer to Rhaelya, but he doesn't actually have many combat units, but boom, you see that those, he just got to tier 3, and that was his first Harby that just dies, because Rhaelya isn't allowed to inherit combat units. Meanwhile, Seal has sent a decent force of loyalists up in here to raid, and with the death of all the combat units here, they have a chance to get some real work done. Rhaelya and MimiKz, however, are going to engage yet again. MimiKz has shield support, but it's mainly supporting his army rather than his comm, and Rhaelya, of course, has the shield on his comm. MimiKz is pumping out T3, and he's going for sniper bots here, which is nice. I am not seeing any T3 up to the front lines for Rhaelya yet. Meanwhile, those loyalists have actually been killed off without getting a great deal of damage done, as Rhaelya is focused on producing Harbies out there, which is nice. And the comms are engaging again. But meanwhile, we have an Ilshi drop into Raider's base. This is marvellous. Look at it. It's taken out 3 mexes. I think they were all T2 and Cap. They're going to die, but what a raid. Meanwhile, lots to look at. Attempted gunship snipe on MimiKz here, but have a look at this. Gingerbread's got the tactical missile launcher, but he's firing at a loyalist factory, and that's a mistake, because loyalists can deflect missiles right back at you. Boom. He takes a hit from his own missile, and another one's coming back. Meanwhile, MimiKz is into the yellow, and there are still multiple gunships on him, but he's protecting himself with mobile shields. Lots of inties from Gingerbread, and the tactical missile barrage continues, but the loyalists keep coming out, and so they keep coming out with a freshly charged missile deflector, and so every single missile is coming back. Morax taking damage. There's still gunships alive. However, he's got Swifties in the area fighting the inties, and he's got the shield protection. The shield protection is crucial here, and I think the inties are all down and out. Meanwhile, these missiles continue to fire, but the loyalists continue to produce, and so they are going to keep on being deflected. But at the same time, Gingerbread has this cheeky little Ilshi raid coming down here, and I don't know if Raider has much to stop it. MimiKz is being forced to get the shield, as we see down here that Rhaelya is pushing in more, but he hasn't got much force left to counter it. What are these Ilshis going to achieve? Well, two can play at that game, says Raider, and rather than just counter this directly, he's sending a big bunch of loyalists up here as Rhaelya begins to fall back. I don't think that MimiKz is going to have any trouble finishing the shield, because he's got Harbies with additional mobile shields in defense, and there's no T3 from Rhaelya yet. Meanwhile, these Ilshis have split up and could get quite a bit of work done on these reasonably undefended mexes poking around. The loyalist push from Raider is being true to his name and getting a good raid in there. GingerbreadMan's falling back to defend, but he's also brought gunships, and those loyalists do not have an answer to those gunships at the moment. And Vothus are the best T2 gunships to make up for the fact that Serra don't get a T3 gunship. Meanwhile, Seal has advanced quite a long way, and this is a long way at the T3 stage. I know he's got gun and nano, but he hasn't actually brought much T3 with him, and so I find this very courageous. Here's T3 out on the field from Rhaelya. Is Seal going to survive this? I think he's got... Look at this, there's multiple Harbies. He is under a great deal of pressure here. How are those Ilshis doing? Well, they're still taking out a decent number of mexes both here and here. On this side, loyalists from Raider are going to kill them, as is this emergency point defense. But on this side, they've got quite a lot of mexes killed before this Harby from Morax is going to take them. MimiKz, sorry, is going to take them out. Gingerbread is again getting out the tactical missile launcher, but you can see from those impacts that as long as loyalists are just being produced non-stop here, those tactical missiles are just going right back where they came from, and so I feel that this is a waste of eco from Gingerbread, firing missiles that are always gonna get shot back at him. I don't like that choice. He has, however, got quite a large force now advancing here. Sensors going down on Rhaelya to replace the gun. That's an interesting choice. I don't know how common that is. He had the gun, he's replacing it with sensors, and Seal has indeed fallen back in the face of an increasing number of Harbies. Big push, though, from Gingerbread. Gingerbread is moving forward with a lot of Ilshis, a lot of Vothul gunships, and he is just getting some shots off with a gun T2 com, even if you ignore the tactical missile. Is he going to try and hit some targets in here with his TML? That could be a wise move. But Raider has been producing loyalists all this time, as we've mentioned, and this could be enough to handle it. But he'll need some air support, and he's getting some from MimiKz. I think this might be enough to see off Gingerbread, but it's going to be close, in my opinion. Anything else going on around the board? Seal now has bricks in with his force, which is nice. MimiKz still pushing, but there's more and more T3 massing up against him. He's going to be careful. And what's that I see on the minimap? We have a cheeky little Harby drop coming in, and there's nothing here to stop it. It's going to get at least 2 mexes, maybe more, as it just scutters around the back, essentially unchallenged. But Gingerbread is where we have to look. He is now getting tactical missiles off. Is he aiming within this? I'm not sure what that was aimed at, but pretty sure it didn't go where he expected. However, he's got more traction here than I expected. With only a bunch of Zuis and a few Ilshis, he has been able to fight off the loyalists and the bricks. And the bricks are coming out. They're getting work done. Okay, I take back what I said. I think he's going to be able, especially as he's now got Othiums in, to push Raider off this area. Here on the left, Rhaelya is again moving in on MimiKz. MimiKz has his shield, but he needs to heal that damage under the shield, and this is a decent army. On this side, Gingerbread is actually looking rather alone. He's got a bit of T3 up here, but his comm is just in the face of a bunch of bricks. Can he overcharge them in time? He's taking out all the production from Raider, and he's got a decent army to do it with, but his comm is quite alone. Over here on this side, the pressure from Rhaelya is quite significant as he forces Morax I keep saying Morax, MimiKz back. And MimiKz has these shield disruptors firing from the back, which will help against the Harbies and against Rhaelya himself. He's got sniper bots, he's got Harbies. But Gingerbread is taking damage over here. And MimiKz continues to fall back. I don't think there's oh, but this could make the difference. We have Whalers out from Raider, and Gingerbread is not got much health left. It looks like Rhaelya feels forced to fall back. MimiKz has just been able to hold, and with these snipers, I think Rhaelya will be hard pushed to push in again for at least a little while. And we've got T1AA going up, and we've got Inties coming in from Gingerbread, but this Whaler is going to be a lot of hit points to work through. The snipers continue to push at Rhaelya, and I don't think this is going to be enough, as we have the air from MimiKz coming in to help out, and Rhaelya is falling back. But Rhaelya's brought in gunships now, and that might be another threat to MimiKz. Gingerbread almost out of health, and he's got this big army here and this big army here. This would be a huge problem for Boom Raider, but because of the partial share rules, all of this army is going to die, and what a relief that will be for Raider. Meanwhile, Rhaelya has been forced back, so I think we can stop worrying about MimiKz just now, and down goes that army. Painful for Team Lightside. Seal, meanwhile, is under quite a lot of pressure. He's got this Harby army from Rhaelya here, but more worryingly for him, he's got this Harby army on his comm. And he will need a lot of overcharge to survive that. I don't think he's going to. I think we might be about... Okay, boom. There he goes. Seal is just straight out of the game. And now it's 2v2, and MimiKz will inherit Seal's units. However, that's a lot of bricks that are going to go up in smoke due to the partial share rules, and that's a lot of Harbies, which MimiKz, unfortunately for him, is going to have to find some way to stop before they get into this base, which suddenly lacks any combat units. And this is going to hurt. And as if that weren't enough, Rhaelya is applying pressure here, but I think MimiKz with his comm, his snipers and his Harbies will have enough to defend from this army for the time being, especially with this force coming in. And this is where we're going to have to focus, because this is going to hurt. Obviously, he's hurling up heaps of point defense. He's assisting brick production as fast as he can, but it feels to me like it's not going to be enough, as this is a lot of Harbies coming in. How many Harbies has Rhaelya got right here? He's got 27. That's a lot. And the point defenses will help, the bricks will help, but look at how much MimiKz is losing of the base that he inherited from Seal. I think that there will be very little left over, but MimiKz and Raider have, in this time, been doing very well on their eco. Despite losing pretty much this entire base, and I'm going to wait to get more accurate values until these mexes have gone down, which they definitely are, he's still going to have a lead of about 300 on his eco above Hot Team, Lightside Team, as I'm calling them this time round. So even losing all those mexes, still a 200 lead. Pretty nice. And MimiKz finishes a GC. And unsurprisingly, it looks like he's sending it straight this way. There it is. Yeah, look, it's coming over here, because this is what he needs to stop. He's got enough up here, not only to hold Rhaelya back, but indeed to push a bit. However, if we zoom out and look at the map control, that is a lot of map control for Rhaelya, and so how long is the eco lead for Team Darkside going to last? The Colossus is pushing in, and it starts to zap those Harbies, and it will eat them up with its tractor claws. This is a lot of Harbies. It's going to take a lot of damage, but unless they're very carefully microed by Rhaelya, this Colossus is likely to defend, in my opinion. What have we got on the other side of the map? Well, we have a bunch of Whalers coming out for Raider. mainly T1 Zoe in here, backed up by a few Othiums, but there isn't really enough anti-air in here. Here's his line of Zoe factories. And here's his Othium production, but where's his anti-air? These whalers, wherever they've gone, where have they gone? Oh, they're up here. We'll be able to go to town on this army, and there won't be much that Rhaelya can do to stop them if he doesn't add some anti-air. That GC is essentially undamaged and is just charging its way forward, so this is great defense from Morax, and he's bringing up Harveys behind it. He might be able to take back this location. I keep saying Morax. MimiKz. He might be able to take back this location. Morax is dead. We're not worried about him anymore. MimiKz is the guy in purple. I'm sure I can remember that, right? Anyway, in comes a big push from Rhaelya. But MimiKz is here with gun and shield, and a lot of Harveys and a lot of snipers. He's pushing forward, and he's also got gunships in defense, and he's also got point defenses. This is gonna be a lot for Rhaelya to break through. But he is getting in, and he might be able to get some eco damage here if these Harveys get under the shield. And MimiKz is losing P-gens. And his shield goes down. This P-gen would be a nice thing to take out, and down it goes. But the production is constant. There's another GC going up, but that's not going to be finished in time. But Rhaelya's force has finally been broken, and that's a lot for MimiKz to lose, but he holds. Meanwhile, this GC has taken a little more damage than it's comfortable with. It's in the red, it's falling back, but there's no T3 left here. I think it could turn around and hit those things. Up here, Rhaelya is not allowing Raider to take this area back. He sent in this big force pushing through here, and it's also going to do damage here. The gunships will be able to stop it, and I don't think Rhaelya has the air to deal with them, and he's certainly got no anti-air in here. But this is a big force that would take the gunships quite some time to work through. And how much of this will they destroy before they're able to be cleaned up by those whalers? Gunships from Rhaelya are finally going to take out MimiKz GC. But he's got another one under construction which is nearly done. And that will be able to push forward here and stop this, because there isn't really a land force here that's going to be a significant threat to MimiKz in his current state. If it were just the land force, his comp could probably deal with that on his own. And I don't like this positioning from Rhaelya. This is easy for the GC to just walk along here and sweep it up sideways. He ought to reposition his formation, and that GC is out. Gingerbread says new GC soon. He's right, new GC already. It's right here. And look at the eco that Raider has lost, but his whalers have indeed been able to clean up this attack force. Still, lot of losses, and they're now only 100 ahead. In fact, dropping now. They might even be about level on eco, the two teams. The GC is just smashing this, and either Rhaelya should run away with it or he should charge in with it, but he should not do what he's doing now, which is standing still just in GC beam range. He is actually getting quite a significant army now coming around the bottom, and these T3 MimiKzes are at risk. MimiKz brings his comm down, he brings some Harveys down. And will that be enough? I really don't know. The comm is of course much slower than the Harveys, and that's going to be a problem. MimiKz GC chases after Rhaelya's force, and it's going to pick some things up as they run. These are getting around the outside a little bit, but as I said, MimiKz comm can just handle most of this by himself. If he can get, and he's getting some air out to clear this up because there isn't any anti-air in here. However, it is going to hit a lot of his MimiKzes, and maybe these T3 engineers as well, and that will mean that it's not only expensive but also slow to rebuild. Look at that, that mixes out, that mixes out, that mixes out. This could hurt. How's that GC doing? Well, it's decided to stop pursuing for now. How's Rhaelya doing? Well, he has decided to recolonize here, and he's got a big force of whalers. I wonder if he's planning to use those for a snipe attempt. And immediately, obviously, straight up to T3 land and just pump out bricks up here. He isn't rebuilding the mexes yet, but he's got so much reclaim that, yes, look, he's got heaps to spend. However, this is quite a big army from Rhaelya, and it looks like he is not intending to let Rhaelya keep this. Still a couple of Harpies alive down here, but Rhaelya has, I'm not going to say forgotten them, but not had the APM to continue using them. And so we're already getting some decent rebuilding here from MimiKz. And there's not a great deal of movement, but the map control. How can Darkside team be happy with this map control? They need to do something about it. It looks like MimiKz is planning to do something about it. Having defeated this push from Rhaelya, he's making a push of his own, but there are a lot of Harpies in wait. However, looks like Rhaelya is having power trouble. Yes, he is. And so those Harpies are unshielded, and this is the perfect time, therefore, for Morax to push in. No shield generators mean that the Harpies on Rhaelya's side are going to die very quickly indeed. Meanwhile, though, Rhaelya has brought in his own GC, but MimiKz has done a lot of damage to it, and I'm going to have to flick between these a little bit because I can't be bothered to split screen right now, and I think this is where we're going to have to mainly look. Rhaelya's got his power back, so his Harpies will have their shields. And there are now 2 GCs from MimiKz, and Rhaelya's GC is actually way out of position. So this could be a huge pickup for MimiKz with the GCs on the front tanking. And has he got sniper bots still in his mix? Not as many, to be honest. The Harpies will have to come forward. But this could still be a big win for MimiKz if he's able to use it. And look at the amount of damage they're doing. I think MimiKz should advance here, and he has got sniper bots in the mix, which are getting some shots off. How's he doing on this side? Well, unfortunately for him, Rhaelya's brought a bunch of gunships, and they have been able to clear up the forces from MimiKz, so MimiKz is going to have to worry about this all over again. His comm is looking quite exposed. Kill with Tsar, says GingerbreadMan, and then all of his units die. That's true. If they can snipe MimiKz, then all of this, and he's got a Tsar coming in here. We'll follow it in a minute. If all of these units die, then that will be a huge win for Rhaelya, because he'll be able to just push in with essentially no losses. However, his GC is down, and his army is being swept up by the pair of GCs. But there are gunships coming in from MimiK's comm. MimiKz knows they're coming, he's running away. Does he know about the Tsar? He knows something's there, but he doesn't know what it is. However, this is going to be painful. He's getting under a mobile shield, but those mobile shields won't protect him for long against the beam of a Tsar. He tries to get a transport out to protect him and fire him away, but the Tsar just shoots him down. And look at MimiK's shields. It sheds away. Boom! And MimiKz goes down, and suddenly this immense army, 2 GCs, a huge horde of Harpies, some sniper bots, suddenly that's all toast as the partial share rules take effect. And Rhaelya is now in a very desperate position indeed. The Tsar comes to fly over his base. However, the ASFs take it down. They'll also take up the gunship. So that's a big heap of reclaim for Rhaelya. But look at Rhaelya's map control. There is basically nothing that he can do. And Rhaelya starts on a nuke. Tele-snipe him, bellows MimiKz. You've got the E. And we are going to see an attempt at a tele-snipe as the teleporter begins. There's the nuke launcher that we saw being started. Does Rhaelya know that a tele-snipe is coming? I don't think he does, because he hasn't really got anything to defend around here. However, does Rhaelya know where the comm is? He does not. MimiKz was suggesting that he build an Eon Eye to find it, but where's he going to build an Eon Eye? Because this base, the Eon base, is just being stomped now. The teleporter is going to be the last-ditch attempt, and it's all going to come down to whether this telesnipe is successful or not. Place your bets, my loyal viewers. It's now unquestionable that if it comes down to just your average battle, that Rhaelya is going to win. But does he realise there's a telesnipe coming? I don't think he does, because his common's just standing here, essentially unprotected. He's got SAMs. Think ACU is here. Ping, SealForce says, ACU, I think they must have seen it with a scout plane, since they don't have the eye. And the teleport has been queued up right here. And there's the jump signature. All eyes are here. Has Rhaelya noticed? He's not moving. I don't think he knows it's coming. Well, now he knows it's coming because there is Rhaelya, and he's opening fire with the comm, but Rhaelya has the shield, and there are just a couple of Harpies in the area. However, Rhaelya's shield is down, but the Harpies... Boom! Rage is dead. Rhaelya has 4,000 hit points remaining. But those 4,000 hit points are enough, and he's the last man standing. Rhaelya and Team Lightside win the game. So much for the dark side of the moon. So close, but no telemaser-shaped cigar. Tell me, do you think that had MimiKz been able to survive that comm snipe, he'd have been able to win with that double GC push? Tell me in the comments below. While you're down there, don't forget to like, subscribe, and obey. I'm TheCommissar. I will see you next time.